Hey Luke, I've got some movie news for you. Miss Piggy movie on way from Jennifer Lawrence, Emma Stone, and Cole Escola. The demanding Muppet is set to get her own movie at Disney with Oscar-winning actors producing and the Tony-winning multi-hyphenate writing. I don't know what that final word even means. Is that like The Guardian being too smart for me?
I don't know, Michael, to be honest, but one thing I do know is I don't like the fact that Miss Piggy is getting a movie to herself. You know, the Muppets, if you think a movie about the Muppets, the main character should be Kermit, and I think it's pretty woke, actually. It's too woke, you know, it's too woke not to have Kermit as the main character.
Well, I would almost agree with you, but I've got a counterpoint, which is that Miss Piggy, when you look at her skin tone, she's basically white, whereas Kermit is green. So actually, if they had Kermit on, that would be woke DEI racial diversity. Miss Piggy, on the other hand, she's basically an Aryan. I mean, blue eyes, blonde hair.
Yeah, I'm not sure Hitler would like Aryans being compared to pigs, but okay.
I think Hitler would like anything made by Disney.
Okay.
Because they're Nazis. Hello and welcome to Select and Reflect, the movie review podcast where we look at films from the near and distant past. We give them a couple of watches and evaluate them beyond first impressions. I'm your host, Michael, and I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, Luke. And this week, we are celebrating the 20-year anniversary of the release of the hit Harry Potter franchise movie installment, The Goblet of Fire. So, Luke, why don't you tell us a thing or two about Harry Potter and The Goblet of Fire?
The Goblet of Fire. Yeah, it's a fire movie, Michael. Because because fire means good, right? Doesn't it?
Yes, yeah. So does 6-7.
Okay, so Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire is a 2005 fantasy film directed by Mike Newell from a screenplay by Steve Kloves. It is based on the 2000 novel Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire by J.K. Rowling, and it's the sequel to Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, which of course came out a year earlier.
Yes, which we reviewed.
Yes, we've reviewed all the Harry Potter movies.
We've done them in the right order.
Yes, up to this point, indeed. I can't wait for the Order of the Phoenix in 2 years' time, right? That's
yes.
Yeah. Anyway,
so you know what? So they should just have done them every year. What is this, like modern TV series?
Yeah. So, the movie stars so many people: Daniel Radcliffe, Rupert Grint, Emma Watson, Robbie Coltrane, Ralph Fiennes, which apparently it's like Ray Fiennes, that's what he's known as.
Yeah, which is stupid, because that's not how his name's spelled.
Yeah, I always just say Ralph, because, you know...
No, yeah, good, yeah, exactly.
That's his fucking
As
name.
J.K. Rowling would say, it doesn't matter how he identifies. His name is Ralph.
Michael Gambon, Brendan Gleeson, Jason Isaacs, Gary Oldman, Alan Ruckman, Maggie Smith, and Timothy Spall. Oh, you know what? David Tennant is not on there, which is interesting.
Oh.
Yes. It was released on the 18th of November 2005 in the UK and the United States. So yeah, we are pretty much bang on when it comes to its 20-year anniversary, which is of course why we are reviewing it. And Michael, can you tell me what the budget was for Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire?
Well, you told me a bit of trivia, which is they tried to keep the budget very, very low. So I assume that it's incredibly low. Let's say
Shall I tell
80 million.
Shall I tell you what Azkaban was?
Oh yeah, tell me what Azkaban was. I think Azkaban would be cheaper.
130.
Okay. Oh, but then I know Alfonso Cuarón is a bit of a stickler for his one shot. So I really feel like this movie, it feels like it has more going. Well, Azkaban had those werewolves. I'm trying to think. There aren't that many like CG. Well, there's the fucking dragons.
Yeah, there's a massive fucking CGI dragon scene, you know?
Yeah, that's so I don't know, like 150? Like I would say this movie is longer than, I mean, not that makes a huge difference because whatever, they probably cut a load of stuff from all these movies, but everything tells me this movie should be more expensive than Azkaban, except for the possibility Alfonso Cuarón insisted on shooting every single scene 200 times because he's an actual director. But everything tells me it should be more expensive, so I'm going to say 150 million.
And you would be correct.
Hey!
Yeah, exactly 150. So there you go. What a shit guess 80 million was, honestly. Right, let's move on.
Well, I just didn't have a frame of reference.
Yes, okay. Let's move on to the box office now. How much did this make? So Azkaban made 800 million.
I think this movie made more than Azkaban. I don't know if that's a guarantee, because I know obviously in some sense you could say movies, like they fall off in the middle. And technically this movie's like right in the middle until they decided to split the seventh film. But I think this movie made more. I was almost, I almost wanted to go for the round billion. fuck. I'm just going to say this movie. No, I'm going to say it made 950 million.
Ooh, I thought you were going to say it only made 900. And you would have been so close to getting it right. Because the box office is 897. Anyway, Michael, now I have to ask you, did you like Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire?
Now, this is interesting because I think I could possibly say, with some degree of confidence, that the first substantial movie opinion I ever expressed to you in our lives was that I considered this to be the worst Harry Potter film. I remember we spoke about this in the second year of university, although you'd think maybe I would have said something about a movie in the first year, but I just don't remember. Anyway, so returning back to this movie, as I have a few times since I decided I didn't like it, I routinely find myself thinking, yeah, I don't like this movie. I think that it's the one thing that like sticks out in my head about this movie is lazy. Like a lot of it, and like I'm sure as we'll get into it, but like even just the entire premise of like usually you have to actually put effort into thinking like, okay, like what is going to be the plot thing that happens to justify this action scene? Like obviously just, you know, the Philosopher's Stone, you have the troll. And it's like, well, there's a plot reason why the troll's there, which is that Quirrell wants to release the troll so that he can, you know, go find the Philosopher's Stone, whatever. Obviously, instead, the decision here was just, oh, well, just have there be this tournament. So there's going to be a whole load of action set pieces that are all like set up. And yeah, I think like lazy is the main thing I think about this movie. And the only thing I say this movie's got going for it is, you know, there's still that kind of Hogwarts charm. Oh, isn't the Yule Ball nice? All that.
Okay, right.
For me, I don't like it.
Can I just step in? I don't think the word lazy is accurate here. Because what you're talking about is, oh yeah, they just have this tournament. And of course it creates a bunch of action and just is the movie, essentially. Instead of it being lazy, it's a gimmick. I think that's more what you're saying. I guess you could say lazy in terms of like, oh, J.K. Rowling was like, oh, I don't know what I should do for the fourth book. So, oh yeah, a tournament. So, you know, there's plenty of exciting shit happening then.
I call her lazy Rowling, not J.K. Rowling.
Yeah. Again, I would say it's more just about a gimmick thing. I don't think what happens in the movie in terms of the mystery is satisfying. I don't think the conclusion. I don't think the conclusion is satisfying either.
Plot hole.
Yes, plot holes. I guess yes.
Well, I don't know if it's like plot hole. It's just plot stupid.
Yes, exactly. Yes. But that's the thing. The actual movie is kind of fun because a lot of shit happens in it, which is kind of fun. And you know, it's exciting to see Harry competing in this tournament. So yeah, that's why maybe you can say it's lazy. I'd say maybe it's a cop out because, you know, you're not doing the hard work of constructing an interesting plot. You know, instead you're just like, oh yeah, he's in this tournament, which naturally, you know, creates excitement. It inherently is interesting, and obviously, you know, it builds towards a conclusion because there's a winner. You know, it's why that format is, you know, it's easy to to do that, and you of course called it lazy. And I think that format though is fine if it was executed well. But again, like I said, I don't think the mystery surrounding the Triwizard Tournament is executed well. And then of course the ending, I have some issues with, as you have just said, by calling it a plot hole, basically, or plot stupid, whatever you want to call it. But I remember actually when I was a kid, I didn't really like Harry Potter. I don't know if you know that about me.
Yeah.
But, oh, you do know that.
Well, because you were raised in a fundamentalist evangelical Christian household.
I did actually speak to someone at university who said, did he say he wasn't allowed to watch Harry Potter, or did he say one of his friends wasn't allowed to watch Harry Potter?
Oh, so is this someone you played football with?
No, it was in a seminar.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I was just like, yeah, people are fucking weird, man. But yeah, I didn't really like Harry Potter. I didn't read the books. I didn't care for it. I just was never into it. And for good reason. I'm glad I wasn't emotionally invested in it. Looking back. But this was my favourite of the Harry Potter movies, because of course I watched the movies, you know, because, you know, they're movies. And they were kind of fun. But this was my favourite because it was just, a bunch of fun stuff happening, and I didn't really care about Harry Potter and the universe in general. I didn't care that, you know, the conclusion wasn't satisfying, because I'm like, well, I don't really care about Harry Potter, so whatever. Like, what happens in the movie is kind of cool. So yeah, but
that is valid.
Yeah, but well, I'm saying that's why this movie, I think, is well liked. But actually, you are correct, and I am also correct, because I have kind of, you know, reevaluated it, because, you know, obviously, when you're actually,
because now you're a huge Harry Potter fan.
No,
because of the incident.
Well, because we're reviewing the movie, we have to now take a closer look at it. We need to select it and reflect upon it. You know?
Evaluate it beyond first impressions, I'd say.
Yes, exactly. You got that one right, and therefore, when we look deeper, we see it's a lot of style maybe, and the substance is lacking. Yeah, I don't think it's as good as The Prisoner of Azkaban, for instance. And I don't know if it's the worst Harry Potter movie. Again, I haven't seen like 5, 6, 7, and 8.
No, 6, 7.
That's great.
That's the number.
Yeah, I haven't seen those movies in ages. Of course, we've recently, in the last few years, reviewed 1, 2, and 3, and I remember talking about them at length, of course, so I have an idea of how good they are. And yeah, so I don't know if it's the worst one, but it's definitely not the best. So, Michael, are we ready to get, or do you have any nitpicks?
I'll present you my one nitpick. This is fine. So this is a very important one. It irks me that the Goblet of Fire and the Triwizard Cup are different things. You know, like it's weird because the book's called The Goblet of Fire. The Triwizard Cup is obviously, as we discover at the end of the film, this incredibly important thing. It's just dumb, right? Like it's just unambiguously stupid for the Goblet of Fire, and you've literally got these two goblets. Have them be the same.
Okay.
Duh.
Right. I don't really care.
It would be like if in The Prisoner of Azkaban it started off being about one Prisoner of Azkaban and then it ended up being a different one, you know? It'd be like if there was multiple chambers. No, okay.
Okay. Yeah, so my it's not a nitpick, to be honest, it's a lit pick. I remember seeing this movie on its opening weekend. Back in 2005. God, those were the days, 2005. And I went to the cinema because we somehow got tickets. I can't remember how, but yeah, we got tickets to see it. And again, I was not a Harry Potter fan, but I was like, yeah, that was pretty cool. I liked it. Again, just all style, no substance. You know, so it appealed to like me as a kid. I think that's the only Harry Potter movie I've seen in the cinemas. I don't think I saw another one in the cinemas. So yeah, there you go. And by the way, the tickets were really good as well. Like it was a really good, cinema, really good seats as well. Yeah. So
Let's put it this way, Luke. If it rains, you'll be the first to know.
Yes, that's a good. Well, no, I wouldn't be, would I?
No, you didn't go to an open air theatre.
No, and
and you got good seats.
Yeah, exactly. So your whole comment, you realise that you fucked up there.
Oh, at least I didn't fuck up the audio at the start.
So let's get into the plot.
When Harry Potter's name emerges from the Goblet of Fire, he becomes a competitor in a grueling battle for glory among 3 wizarding schools, the Triwizard Tournament. But since Harry never submitted his name for the tournament, whom did? Now Harry must confront a deadly dragon, fierce water demons, and an enchanted maze, only to find himself in the cruel grasp of he who must not be named. Yes, good, accurate description of the movie.
What a great intro. Yeah, so he has to, Harry has to battle all these obstacles. And, it's like kind of fun. That's why I liked it, as a kid. In the background, you have this mystery, what's happening? What's happening with Voldemort? What's happening with Voldemort? What's going on with him? Harry's having these dreams, and I don't actually think that part of the movie, because, it's kind of 2 separate plot lines. I know they're connected, but it's kind of 2 separate plot lines. That's not integrated well into the movie. It's kind of forgotten about, to be honest, until the end, because you're just really focusing on the tournament, and everything else takes quite a significant backseat to the tournament. There's, of course, there is the mystery of who puts Harry's name forward, in the Goblet of Fire, and nobody really cares about it throughout the entire movie.
Yeah.
Nobody investigates it. Like Dumbledore is talking to the other teachers and saying, "Oh, well, we should just let it play out."
Yeah, which is like a really smart thing to do.
It's really smart, but the point is, as the audience, is because the strategy of the teachers, the people in charge, it's like, yeah, well, let's just see what happens. Okay, we don't. You kind of not the point of a mystery is you really get into the weeds of it. A good mystery is a mystery when the main characters actually try to investigate what's happening. There's not just a mystery and they just leave it be, because that's then when you get to the conclusion, it's just unsatisfying because there's been no build up to that moment. And again, then does it even make sense? Which again is another issue. So yeah, I think this movie is pretty flawed plot wise, but I guess they could only do so much, of course, because of what was in the book. So yeah.
Yes. Absolutely. And yeah, people, this is one of the ones where the true fans complain about it, and they say oh, this is the one, because, obviously the fans of Harry Potter who enjoy the books are just awful, awful people. So, they're really angry, and I kind of wonder, how much better can the book be? With that said, on adapting the 636-page book, Cloves, who was the screenwriter, said, "We always thought it would be 2 movies, but we could never figure out a way to break it in 2, so it will be a different experience from the book." Chris Columbus suggested...
Sorry, is he German?
No.
No, he's American.
no, he's yes, yeah. That was my American accent. Sorry, I guess I still need some work.
Damn,
Chris
I had
Columbus,
no idea your wife sounded like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Chris Columbus suggested splitting Goblet of Fire into 2 films due to its length, but Warner Brothers showed no interest in the idea. They didn't want more money. Newell found that I don't know, I was going to give this guy a accent or whatever. No, let's not. There was a way of making one film which was as a thriller, while staying true to the book and keeping the length down. With the Goblet of Fire novel, almost twice the length of Prisoner of Azkaban, the writers and producers reduced certain scenes and concepts to make the transition from page to screen. Newell described the problem as one of compressing a huge book into the compass of a movie. This was achieved by putting aside all the components of the novel, which did not directly relate to Harry and his journey. Yeah, so they trimmed down all the fat, I think we can agree.
Yes, well, that's what they tried to do, and of course, maybe the true fans got mad at it, which you kind of implied. They should have got mad at J.K. Rowling for just writing an enormous book and expecting it to be adapted. Like we said in The Prisoner of Azkaban, that movie was cut down and it was actually adapted compared to the novel. Yeah. And this one also needed to that was necessary. This needed to be adapted because it was so much longer than The Prisoner of Azkaban, because Rowling was in her I don't need an editor phase of her writing career, which again, I think it's fine, for a novel to be really long, because you can just pick it up, put it down. That's the point. You don't read a book in one sitting. Different from a movie, and it's just interesting that they were thinking about splitting the movie into 2 movies, of course, which is what they eventually did with the Deathly Hallows. Yes. I wonder if they regret that, but maybe not, because it's hard to split like one of the middle movies in half. I don't think that would play as well as.
Also, the precedent that would set, because at that point, surely, because obviously Order of the Phoenix is even longer. So essentially, if they were going to, like, you can say, oh yeah, split the last one because that's really important. But if they were just going to say, oh, we'll split Goblet because the book is long, well, every subsequent book was just as long. So.
Yes, no, I agree. they saw Rowling's like fucking desk, and they saw all the books being stacked up on top of each other. And they're like, yeah, I don't think we can keep this. This can't be a precedent here. But I do think they, Newell and Cloves, the screenwriter director, they kind of had, they were in a corner. They couldn't really do a lot with what they had, and so they tried to make it a thriller, I guess, because it's very long. So okay, we've got to make it a thriller. We've got to include these exciting scenes, and so that's what I said before. Kind of style over substance. That I guess that worked. Maybe the movie would be better if you included more of the other plotline with the mystery, like what's going on with Moody, what's going on with who put Harry's name in the fucking cup, all of that shit, and that you could add maybe another 15-20 minutes onto the movie, but then it would be even longer. Would that be an issue? So yeah, maybe they made the best out of what they had adapting this book.
Yes, yeah. The reason why I say that I hate these novel fans is, as you know, there's a TV show coming out that's all about this, and that's when they're going to get to just completely include all of the bloat, and it's just annoyed me. Like, every single time you look at anything to do with this TV show, which I'm genuinely like interested in out of kind of morbid curiosity, it's like, oh, HBO, whatever. Anyway, every single comment's like, oh, finally someone can do the Harry Potter books justice, which of course means including every single individual detail exactly as it was. And the thing they said that really annoyed me is Christopher Columbus pointed out that they copied his exact costume for Hagrid in the TV show, and literally all the comments were like failing to understand the concept that film directors actually do any adaptation. So like, no, obviously, like, he didn't come up with the costume, J.K. Rowling did, but it's like, I'm pretty sure anyway, whatever. It just annoyed me because it's like, in their mind, it's just like the whole point of adaptation is to completely recreate everything exactly as it is in the books, and they might as well not exist because who gives a shit about them and their own creativity?
I can't. And this has never happened, by the way, because obviously stuff gets adapted and readapted or remade, all the time, and there's like legacy sequels and stuff. But I don't think it's ever happened where you have like a franchise of movies that is being remade into a TV series. A successful movie franchise that's now a TV series. This is the first time that's ever happened. Even though there's been so many remakes over the past like 10-15 years, and basically. That's why I think it's going to fail, because you did it very well. How are you going to do it better? And again, like you said, they're going to include all these like subplots. or as you put it, they're going to include the bloat. Well, there's a reason why things are cut in movies, and if they just add all this random shit into the TV series, I don't think it's going to be as satisfying to watch compared to the movies, and it's going to fail, which is why, again, you shouldn't do it, but whatever. That's of course, people are going to watch it, so there you go. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Anyway, let's get on to the script. Harry Potter has a nightmare in which a caretaker named Frank Bryce is murdered at the Riddle House after overhearing a plot by Voldemort, Peter Pettigrew, and another man whom Harry does not recognize. Yeah, so this is a scary introduction. Yeah, obviously they mentioned the word thriller in the intro, and we did talk about how Prisoner of Azkaban took it in a more scary direction. But this is this is kind of horror stuff, right? Like you got this haunted house vibe, this caretaker in the dark. It's all very scary, and of course we get just a murder right at the start.
No, I think it's a very good beginning, honestly, to the movie, because it is scary, sets a good tone. We talked about in Prisoner of Azkaban how the movies are going darker, and again this is quite a dark movie. Again, Prisoner of Azkaban, I praised it a lot last time because it set the tone for the rest of the Harry Potter series, and this of course continues in this movie as it should. And I do like the start. However, the problem I have is, again, it's kind of forgotten about. I mean, Harry does reimagine the dream or redream the dream later on in the movie, but it's like, oh yeah, this, what happens at the very start of the movie and what happens at the very end of the movie are connected. But then you got 2 hours and 15 minutes of stuff which mostly isn't connected to these two things in the middle. So it would be better if this was later on in the movie, but then you'd have other issues. But just the integration of this, or the Voldemort stuff, the Voldemort subplot, which eventually turns into the main thing right at the end. It needs to be integrated better, and maybe you could do that by not putting it right at the start. But having said that, it's a cool start to the movie, so whatever.
Yeah, I would agree. The following morning, Harry attends the Quidditch World Cup with the Weasleys, Hermione, and Cedric Diggory. That night, you forgot about Cedric Diggory's dad. That night, Death Eaters...
I actually cut him because he was the bloat.
Okay, that's it, yeah. Yeah, okay, that's in that case you're a true artiste.
No, honestly, I cut stuff all the time from the stuff I make you say. Yeah.
That makes sense. That night, Death Eaters attack the campsite after a thrilling game of Quidditch that we don't get to see. And the unknown man from Harry's nightmare casts The Dark Mark. Goblet of Fire is the first film adaptation not to begin at Pivot Drive. The gameplay at the Quidditch World Cup was removed for timing reasons, leaving an abrupt temporal jump that some reviewers considered awkward or rushed. Now, I do have an opinion, which is that I feel like it's perfectly okay that we do not see the Quidditch World Cup. I think that we see plenty of Quidditch in other things, and it's kind of one of those things where I personally, like a nerd, feel like character is an important part of action, and that watching a bunch of people who, except for Victor Crumb, literally do not matter at all, would be kind of pointless. So I think it was a good move to cut the Quidditch World Cup.
Quidditch is a shit game, first and foremost. As we've been through, I think, in our Philosopher's Stone review, we pointed out how it doesn't really make sense. But I agree that it is quite awkward and rushed because there's this big build-up to the final. It's like, here come the Irish, here come the Bulgarians. Oh, can't wait for this game. And then cut. And then it's over. I found it quite funny. I knew what was coming, but I was like, yeah, damn, I can see why people dislike that. Especially, of course, because, the actual World Cup is in the book. I remember when this movie came out, by the way. What was that fucking kids show?
It's not like Blue Peter.
No, it was it was a news show. It was like News Round or News.
Oh yeah, News Round. Yeah,
that's what it was. News Round. Okay, I remember they did a report on this movie, and it was like people, fans of the books are mad because they cut out the World Cup scenes. That was the big controversy from this movie.
Oh wow!
When it came out, all those.
I always skip News Round because I was willfully uninformed about the world even back then.
Yeah. Yes. But yeah, and again, I had seen the movie by this point. But I hadn't read the book, so I was like, oh, I don't care really. I mean, it may have been nice to see some Quidditch, but I'm like, I didn't really care. But yeah, again, it's just funny how they cut it right at the moment. Just don't show it at all. If you're gonna do that.
Yeah.
But I guess you have to establish Victor Crumb, which is the conundrum. So yeah, but it is.
Or you could say the Crumundrum.
Yes. It is unsatisfying, but again, it's such a long movie that they had to make some cuts. And again, Quidditch, who really cares? But yeah, it's interesting as well. Of course, what happens in this movie is there's a terrorist attack, basically at this big sporting event, which I don't remember back in the late 90s, early 2000s, there being terrorist attacks on sporting events. But terrorism was in the news.
Yes, I have a grievance, by the way, and I just need to. This is going to be a very quick thing, but I need to point out because it annoys me so much. The thing is, having a Quidditch World Cup makes no sense because of the fact there's only one school for the entire British Isles, meaning that really your chances of competing in the World Cup are not that much, or being on the England national team really isn't that much lower than your chances of just playing for your school. So and the thing is, like, then you think about like Ireland, and it's like, obviously, as we know, Seamus O'Finnegan, all that, all of the Irish wizards go to Hogwarts. So the entire Irish team is literally just probably just all of the people at Hogwarts who happen to be Irish. And it's just something that like annoys me a lot.
Maybe some of them would gone to an American wizarding school, maybe.
Yeah, well, because that's the thing, that's the other issue. Like, we know how many wizarding schools there are, and like, obviously not even every country has its own wizarding school. Like, I think that the thing that Crumb goes to is for the entirety of Eastern Europe. So yeah, it's stupid.
Yeah, I mentioned that later, but yeah.
That was the thing that I said was going to be a nitpick, but it like annoys me. Anyway, so at Hogwarts, Dumbledore announces the school will host the Triwizard Tournament along with the Durmstrang Institute, who are somehow from the north, because Victor Crumb's Bulgarian, and the
but is it Bulgaria north of Scotland?
That's a good point as well, actually. Yeah, you're right.
So that's why I put who are somehow from the north in the thing you had to read. You know.
Yes. So they're from the Arctic. Yeah. And the Biaux Batons Academy.
Wow. You don't know.
Beauxbatons.
Yeah, okay.
Academy. One student from each school will be chosen by the Goblet of Fire to participate. Another thing that just annoys me is the fact that this means that... whatever. This is also probably a nitpick. I don't give a shit because I'm just going to say it very quickly, which is, so this entire school seemingly is going to be there at Hogwarts for a whole year, which just seems like bizarre to imagine, like what is effectively a boarding school, tripling their capacity so that all of these people can go and watch. I don't know if it is the entire school. I guess like maybe it's just a 17-year-old. Still, it's very weird that they're there for like the whole year.
Yes, that is very weird, and I think it's just in the movie, or it's in the movie because it's in the book, and it's in the book because, well, you know, the whole point, what J.K. Rowling does with every book is, you know, the book takes place across a whole school year.
Yes.
In reality, what would happen, you know, because obviously schools compete against each other, you know, all the time in real life, what would happen is they'd be there for like 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks at most, and then they'd go home, which is not a whole school year.
It's less.
It is less. Yes, it is less by quite significantly. So yeah, I think that's why. Again, it's stupid, but you know, Rowling has to make sure, you know, it takes a whole year, you know. So there you go. They could come back and return, you know, like every couple of months maybe.
Yeah, but to be fair, it's probably not like, especially in a world with all the ways you can travel, like just have a portkey.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe that would be better and make more sense. But yeah, they're just hanging around, I guess, like in Hogwarts whole year. So yeah, and it's okay, I think, for the students who are competing, like Victor Crumb and Fleur Delacour, whatever she's called. But yeah, not for the rest of them. They're just there, like, you know, why am I thousands of miles away from my school? You know, in my crucial final year, you know, kind of pointless, but whatever.
Yes. The Goblet selects Fleur Delacour for Beauxbatons, Victor Crumb for Durmstrang, and Cedric for Hogwarts. It then chooses Harry as a fourth champion, leading to much confusion. Now, you say confusion. I think the main thing that leads to is a lot of calmness.
Okay, yeah, I am going to talk about that. Well, yeah, you brought it up, so I'll talk about it right now because, yeah, well, you say calmness. Well, initially there is calm because, you know, Dumbledore is like Harry Potter. He calls his name, you know, and nobody says anything. Like, he's obviously the fourth guy. There's only 3 people. He's the fourth. He is, of course, also under 17. And Harry doesn't say anything to his friends. Like, I didn't put my name in the cup. Have I been chosen? He's not like, what the fuck? He's just speechless, which you could say, oh, he was speechless, but you'd say something. He doesn't say anything to Dumbledore either. Nobody says anything. Like, nobody says, hey, wait a minute, we've already got 3 people. What the fuck's going on?
Yeah.
Like, nobody says anything. And it's just kind of, it's filmed, I think, really badly. I think all the scenes with, like, multiple people, to be honest, are filmed quite badly. Like the scene with what's he called? The Weasley brothers. Fred and George.
Yes.
When they try to put their name in the goblet, like, it's filmed quite badly. I feel like, and the dialogue with Hermione and them is just so stilted and ridiculous. And the dialogue is quite bad throughout the whole movie, to be honest.
Yes.
That's, again, it's definitely worse than The Prisoner of Azkaban in that regard. But yeah, I just don't think these scenes are directed that well, and this one again wasn't. It was executed quite poorly.
Harry, does just kind of like wordlessly walk off, and everyone's just like, yep, you know, he's been. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Are we going to talk about like that whole thing of like, and then they say like, oh, it's a binding contract. Oh, I can see. Sorry, that's already on there. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. We were going to get to that. Yeah, so that's next. But yeah, firstly, just in terms of like Harry being in this tournament, let's not talk about how it was executed. Let's talk about it from from a premise perspective. Because, yeah, of course, this tournament is in the movie because, it creates these easy plot points like we pointed out. You've basically created several scenes naturally which are going to be exciting and you don't need to do that much work. As you said, you called it lazy. It's why I liked it as a kid. But I do actually think the concept is quite good of, there's this tournament, of course, but someone, of course it's Harry, because it's always Harry, is entered into this tournament, even though he shouldn't be entered. This should not have happened. So how has it happened? He's the fourth candidate, and also, of course, he's too young. So how the hell did this happen? I do like that concept, that there is this natural mystery and this natural intrigue regarding how he's going to do, because, again, he shouldn't be in this tournament. The actual ending to the mystery is, like I said, unsatisfying, but I do like that as a concept. Like, how did he get into this tournament? What's going on? I do like that, so yeah.
No, yeah, I think that's fair. Anyway, so calmness. The scene where Dumbledore asks Harry if he put his name in the goblet is noticeably different in the film. In the book, he asks calmly, whereas in the film, he appears much more angry and panic-stricken, to the point that he even manhandles Harry and demands an answer from him. Yeah, so this is the big meme. Possibly, like, the biggest Harry Potter meme of all time.
Wow.
Like, I feel like I've seen it, like, every single time that someone's, like, really angry in a way that seems completely unreasonable, people will be like, did you blah, blah, blah in the blah, 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 so-and-so asks calmly.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, like, I feel like I've seen that many times. Probably more, I don't know. The other one is, why is it when something happens, it's always you three? That's another classic meme.
Well, the one of the OG classic memes was, actually, I think it happens in this movie, the scene where Hermione is telling Harry what Ron said about Hagrid and the dragons. It's like, shocked Hermione. I think that's what the meme was called. This scene, it's very funny. Oh god, I like to think maybe it makes sense that Dumbledore is angry because he's putting on a show for the others, but I think it's just drama for the sake of drama. And of course, what the director said before, he wanted to make it like a thriller. Well, this is how you make it a thriller. These dramatic scenes with characters who are very emotional, and so that's what Dumbledore's doing. He's like, what happened? What's going on? Even though it doesn't really make sense.
Yeah. I mean, I think that it's supposed to be, it's more dramatic. And I guess, to be fair, like, I actually don't have a problem with it in that it makes you aware of how serious the situation is. And to be honest, like, for the rest of everything that's going on, they're way too calm about it, actually. So having someone be like, wait, what happened here? Like, being really confused.
Why the fuck did you put your name in the goblet, you fucking specky cunt?
Yeah, it's funny because, like, Michael Gambon, he's been in like some like of those British gangster movies, so you can imagine him doing that. Like, you slag, what did you do, you fucking ass?
Calling Harry Potter a specky cunt.
Yeah. Yes, specky cunt. Yeah, yes. Many students believe Harry cheated, and Ron distances himself from him, hurt that Harry did not tell him when he allegedly entered. Harry's forced to compete due to a magical binding contract when a champion's name was selected. So yeah, I personally feel like Ron's beef with Harry is stupid. I think that, like, the problem is it's totally against everything we've seen from Harry's character so far in the movies. Like, we've never ever got the impression Harry is someone who wants to be the center of attention.
Yes.
So Ron's an idiot.
Yes. Ron is so fucking stupid. But it's drama, Michael. They don't like each other. It's fun. He calls him a foul git, which is just an awful insult.
Yeah, it's really funny to me they can't swear. Yeah, I remember one time I told my stupid gay loser friend at secondary school, I was like saying it didn't make sense to me that Harry Potter didn't swear, and he was like, "Well, they couldn't have them just swear in a book." I was like, "You can have someone swear in a book." Okay,
you do like an insult, Michael, because today you called your sister. You said, "My stupid gay fucking homosexual sister."
Yes, because she locked herself out of her house.
Yes. So you do like a good insult, so yeah, I can appreciate that. But Ron being pissed. Look, obviously Harry did not enter. Obviously he was shafted. Obviously someone set him up. Because guess what? He's Harry Potter, for fuck's sake. This has been happening for the last 4 years that Ron's known him. And it's like, wow.
It's like, Ron's like, why did you kill your parents? Is it just because you wanted attention?
Yeah.
It's like, wow, Ron.
And everyone, like, all the kids have just forgotten that. It's like, oh yeah, Voldemort tried to kill this guy. He still has that scar. Weird shit keeps happening to him. But yeah, we need that drama. We need that, that tension between Harry and Ron. And the teachers, they know he's bait. So they have that conversation where McGonagall's like, just use him as bait. And Snape, of course, is happy to do that, which I like that scene. It's quite subtle. So maybe we should just let things play out. Maybe we should just see.
Maybe we should let him die in a hole.
Yeah, but I do like that. But yeah, again, it's obvious. Like McGonagall said, he's bait, and also the contract thing is dumb. But whatever, it's not the dumbest thing in this movie.
No, it's not the dumbest thing in this movie.
I'll tell you what it is. This next omission.
Oh yes, yeah. Imagine omitting this, or sorry, omitting. I'm stupid. The house elves / slavery subplot, which involves Hermione's attempt to form a group. Spew. Can I try and now? Oh yes, okay. You're about to ask me. So Society for the Protection of Elves.
Because the second one is promotion. The P is promotion.
Society promoting equality. Equal witches.
This is great. Society for the Promotion of Elfish Welfare.
Okay, whatever. That's fine, I guess.
It's not fine.
Spew.
Because she shouldn't have needed to set it up in the first place. But go on.
To promote their welfare, I should have read that. Yeah. You're right. You're right. To promote elfish welfare. I'm like, what is it? Anyway, is omitted from the film. Its exclusion hides one of the series' most ideologically troubling elements: Rowling's defense of social hierarchy and deference to authority. Within the novels, attempts to challenge systemic injustice are portrayed as hysterical, while the continuation of slavery is treated as natural, even desirable. Had this subplot been included,
read it slowly so people know.
Had this subplot been included, it would have shown to a wider audience the extent to which Rowling's worldview valorizes obedience and stability over liberation and equality, and fully exposed Rowling's reactionary, conservative moral framework, which lies beneath the veneer of a liberal fantasy. Spew. Interesting. I didn't realize Spew started in the 4th book. I actually thought it started in the 5th book.
No. It's because Hermione once again has fuck all to do in this movie.
Because women.
Actually, I imagine. Instead of being with Victor Crumb, of course.
Yeah, she did him.
Yes, she has fuck all to do apart from fuck Victor Crumb.
Fuck all of Victor Crumb.
Yeah, but apart from that, she's nothing to do. So it makes sense why this was in the movie, was in the book, and then of course had to get cut because it would have exposed Rowling's reactionary conservative moral framework. And who would have guessed that she had that kind of framework? Really shocking to look back on. But
she's friends with Tony Blair.
Hermione, doing this is again it's been, I think, mocked of course a lot. But I just thought I'd bring it up because it takes place in this movie.
Yeah, I mean it's weird. Also, sorry, it's always strange to me. I've never quite understood why it is that Rowling actually chose to write the Wizarding World to be so shit. Like that's always like a weird, because like be like fine, like a liberal who believes in the system or whatever, but like most conservatives and liberals, they wouldn't really bring attention to like slavery and stuff. So I've never really understood why it is that she was like, let's write the society so it's like got this massive system of blood purity and everyone's constantly on the verge of fashing out or if they're not actively already doing so. But yeah, I don't know, maybe it's just because then she gets to show how Hermione's a stupid namby-pamby woke loser for opposing it.
Maybe that is the reason. Yes.
Yeah. I genuinely actually am like interested in reading because I read the books, but when I was like a little boy, when obviously, and all boys are pro-slavery. Okay. So, for the first task, the champions must retrieve an egg by getting past a dragon. Professor Alistair Moody, the new Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher, hints that Harry can use his wand to summon his broomstick. All 4 champions collect their eggs. So I don't know. I'm just going to say this now. Okay, I'm going to say this now because I could say it later, but I think it's fine to say now. Mostly I laugh because of the fact all 4 champions collect their eggs. It reminded me of in the Simpsons episode where Moe enters a bartending competition and there's like 3 competitions, and then at the end Duffman's like, and the final round counts for 100 points, making the previous 2 rounds obsolete. It's kind of funny to me that like it really doesn't matter how people do in these early rounds. Like it's just pointless. And like obviously here everyone just succeeds. It kind of makes me like, what if they hadn't succeeded? Would they just have been like out of the competition?
Yeah. So well that's the thing. Fleur Delacour, whatever the fuck she's called, she does not succeed in the second trial.
And she just starts a bit later.
Yeah. So,
which doesn't really matter for a maze, like.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe if you made it like, first place you start like 10 minutes ahead. Maybe that's a big advantage, and then 10, 20, 30, etc. But it's what I was confused about here. Okay, Moody. Okay, so Moody's trying to help Harry, right? Because obviously he wants Harry to win because he needs Harry to touch this portkey, and the portkey can only be the Triwizard Cup, of course. It can't be anything else, apparently. Even though in the first, because I was thinking, maybe
it was an old boot.
Yes, well, I was thinking maybe a portkey only works if it's some special object. But then, of course, Rowling completely undercuts that because in the first scene it's a fucking manky old boot. So okay, that doesn't work either. But okay, so we know why Moody wants Harry to win, but it's never established why Harry wants to win, because he even says to Moody, I don't want eternal glory. He doesn't even want to be in this competition. So why is he so determined to win? I mean, I'd just fucking give up.
Yeah, forfeit. Yeah, like that's my attitude too. You've absolutely, and I've never, and of course the other thing is, like, never mind Harry doesn't want to win. It also means, like, why do we want him to win? Like, that's the other problem. Because like you said, if you just watch this and you're just like, oh, it's just like an action scene that's happening, okay, cool.
Yeah, that was me as a kid.
Yeah, but like when you're watching this and you're thinking, okay, like in the same way that I enjoy movies typically, which is I like relate to the characters and I want to see them achieve their goals. How can I possibly relate to this? Because I don't care about Harry in this competition, because it's like such an obvious side quest when like he's got this big conflict. It's like, this is why in the Two Towers they didn't have some random scene where like Frodo has to compete in the Hobbit Olympics. It's just like, all right, I gotta go, and like we're supposed to be invested in it, because that doesn't work when you've got this wider narrative. Yeah,
it would be good, of course, if Harry had to win. Like, there was some prize at the end, which meant, it's very good if he actually wins this, like he's motivated, but that doesn't exist, so he just wants to win.
Yeah. The winner will receive their parents resurrected.
Yes, exactly, that's what I was thinking, so, okay, he wants to win because he's the main character of the movie, so of course he just wants to win, and we as the audience want him to win because he's the main character, so we're backing him.
Makes sense.
And then that, there you go. That's it. And when there's nothing more to it than that, well, that's bad writing. Or again, like it's the novel's fault, of course, because you can't change things radically. But yeah, it essentially doesn't mean I'm gonna let the movie off the hook.
No.
Although the scene again is good, it's exciting. I like this scene a lot. I remember again watching it when I was young in the opening weekend of the movie in that cinema, and I was like, yeah, this is good. Maybe I do like Harry Potter. Maybe I should read the massive fucking Order of the Phoenix book. I did not decide to do that. But yeah, again, just it's good. It's an exciting scene with the dragon. The Hungarian horntail. Good name.
He also gets like the hardest dragon to defeat, which is fun.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Like again, because he's Harry Potter.
Because he's Harry Potter. Yes. And of course the dragon gets off its chain because.
Which would make the competition completely boring to watch for everyone anyway.
Yeah. But I do wonder if it's like, the Hungarian horntail, it's just so powerful, or maybe someone was trying to sabotage him, like often happens, but I don't know who that would be. But whatever. The point is, the setup to this, it doesn't make sense, because again, if you're Harry, you've said, I don't really want to win, you just fly away and just like, nah, I give up, I don't want the egg.
Yeah.
And in the second trial, you'd just be like, I don't have the ability to go underwater. I guess because, I don't know, Cedric could have just told him what the second trial was about. So yeah, he could have competed in that trial as well, or he could have just been like, nah, I don't want to do it. And then he could have just obviously got to the final task, because apparently you don't need to win or do anything, do well in the tasks. You still get to compete in the final. So yeah.
Yes.
Again, there are quite a few flaws in this movie, Michael.
That is accurate. On Christmas Eve, the school hosts the Yule Ball, but Harry and Ron could not attend with their preferred dates and instead have to settle with the dirty, smelly Indians, Parvati and Padma Patil, respectively. So
I like
that's
how
fine.
Wikipedia included that word, respectively.
Yes, because we're being very respectful to them.
Yes.
Basically, this is, in my opinion, my humble opinion, probably the best scene. Or not best scene, but like this is the thing where I'm like, okay, like if you're gonna have Harry Potter and it's gonna be about like a wizarding school, a high school but with wizards in it, probably having this ball that they do is a worthwhile thing. And I also did actually kind of enjoy the whole thing where that woman McGonagall is dancing with Ron, and Harry's like, oh, you're never gonna let him forget this, are you? I feel like that's good. Because it's got that, like, I feel like if you're a Harry Potter, like if the Harry Potter has a point, I feel like it's kind of stuff like that, so I do appreciate it. That's my opinion. But do you hate dancing because you're gay?
I just hate this section of the movie so much,
Yeah, see, Luke, the problem with you is your opinions on Harry Potter are worthless because you fundamentally hate the core conceit of Harry Potter.
Which is
This is like
dancing.
that time, where, which is, acting like it all being about being at a high school with witches and wizards.
Wait, what?
Well, like it's a high school of witches and wizards,
Yeah.
so it's going to be about like drama, people dancing, going to dance. Hey,
Sorry,
can you come to the dance with me?
I don't think people dancing has got anything to do with witches and
Well,
wizards.
okay, but the thing is, so everyone knows that dancing is actually considered to be a substitute for sex. So obviously, this is basically American Pie.
Okay.
Except instead of trying to lose their virginity, they're trying to lose their dance virginity.
Yeah. It's a thing that private schools do when, of course, because often they're separated into male private schools, female private schools, and maybe they're loosely connected in some way or they're close to each other. So it's like, we're gonna have like a ball, and you're gonna dance with each other. Again, the whole point of this is like, oh, aren't they? Isn't it fun? They're
It is,
becoming,
yeah, that is fun.
They're becoming young adults now. Isn't it awkward? What they're doing. Remember when you were a teenager and you went through these awkward things about, I want to go on a date. I can't talk to women, or we're gonna learn how to dance. Or it's just like, God. Oh, they're getting older, so J.K. Rowling feels she has to add this stuff in. I guess if there was a wider point to it, it'd be okay, but there's not. So, yeah, it's not entertaining, so it's just pointless. So I'd cut it all. Well, I say it's pointless. There are some things that come out of it, which we will get onto now. Yeah.
Yeah. So Hermione goes to the ball with Victor, provoking Ron's jealousy. Now, should we acknowledge the elephant in the room, which is that, and this is agreed by everyone, which is that Emma Watson is too attractive to be playing Hermione. This is something which everyone has agreed.
Yes.
And J.K. Rowling said it.
Did she say it?
She did, yeah. So J.K. Rowling, one of the things she was like asked, basically there's a video where J.K. Rowling's like being interviewed by Daniel Radcliffe, and he's like asking her questions, and she's like, well, one of my big concerns is that you and Emma and Rupert are all far too attractive. And I feel like she was saying Rupert and to an extent, Daniel, to be nice. But the real answer there is that Hermione in the books is supposed to be like very plain, very nerdy looking.
Plain Jane.
Yeah, exactly. Like she's not supposed to be attractive by any means, whereas Emma Watson is considered is currently in the year of our Lord 2025.
What about
considered?
What about when she was 14? What now?
When she was 14, she was considered such among 14-year-olds. So like, and of course, I mean, I was not when this movie came out, I was like 10, but even still, I had the raging blood of a male in me, and. And yeah, like even to me, it was like obvious that Hermione would be the girl that was like, oh, you want to go with Hermione, not, oh man. And like that's the thing, because I know that in the books, like this is supposed to be a huge moment. I don't know why I know this, but I do know this. In the books, it's supposed to be like a huge moment because it's basically like the classic thing in like where like it's like a nerdy girl, but then she gets a makeover and suddenly she's really beautiful. Yeah. And that's supposed to be what this moment is for Hermione. Like she gets ready for the ball, and it's like, oh my goodness, she's actually attractive. She's not plain at all. But of course, it doesn't work because she literally just looks pretty much exactly the same as she always did.
I'll tell you what I put in my notes. First and foremost, it's a cliche, like you say. There's this nerdy girl, but then She does her hair up, she gets in dress, she takes off her glasses, and all of a sudden it's like, wow, she's beautiful. Does that make sense when it's Emma Watson? No, because as you have said, Emma Watson was cast. I think she was cast because she was quite, good
Hollywood
looking.
pedos.
Well, yeah, I'm not gonna go that far, Mike. What did you say?
Hollywood pedos. Oh, you Christopher Columbus. He was horny.
So I thought you said for the pedos.
Well, yeah, for the pedos as well.
I was like, well, calm down there. But no, like she was not bad looking, and of course, there are child models. If you are a casting director, yes. you can tell who's going to be an Uggo and who's not going to be. That's
exactly.
That's just how it is.
If you're an expert, it's even babies.
Yes, Rupert. Well, I don't know about that. That'd be. Oh, you were joking.
Yeah. Like this is going to be a hot baby. That's what they did in Twilight. Spoiler.
Oh yeah, good point. Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe with like facial technology, you can tell. I don't know, but yeah, certainly, obviously, Emma Watson was chosen because she was not. She, in fact, did not look like how Hermione Granger was supposed to look, given Rowling's description of her in the books. There is a clash there, and Rupert Grint, on the other hand, was chosen because he was kind of funny. You can see him in the first movie, The Philosopher's Stone. He's got like this comic relief about him, which
hell,
which he carries, and it's like, oh yeah, that's good. That's the perfect kid to play Ron. that's what I did find funny when it's like, the reveal of Hermione. It's like, oh, there she is. Wow, isn't she beautiful? And I'm like, she doesn't look that different at all to how she looked in the rest of the movie. She just looks very similar, just with a dress on instead of a school uniform. That's the only difference. Also, Ron is right, by the way, when he says that Victor Krum is too old for.
Yes,
for her.
He is 17. She is 14.
Yeah,
that is in the UK. That would be decidedly illegal.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know.
And this is set in the UK.
Yeah, I don't know what you mean by like illegal. Like,
well, basically because the age of consent here is 16.
Well,
so
in
America, like
right.
as we know, Romeo and Juliet laws.
Yeah, well, you're talking about consent, which means you're talking about sex. I'm talking about, they
oh yes, good point.
It's not
Sorry,
illegal.
I forgot that a man and a woman could be in the vicinity of each other without banging.
Yeah, so Hermione is either 14 or 15. Krum is either 17 or 18. Yeah, that is too old. That's a 3-year, potentially 4-year, even though
which would be okay if they were older. For the record, I would say that probably a 37-year-old can date a 34-year-old.
Yes,
I think that's reasonable.
What is the rule, Michael?
Half your age plus 7.
Yes, and what's half Victor Krum's age?
Half his age is, let's say, so we say he's 18 because that's an easier calculation. Is 9 plus 7 is 16. Yeah, that's sort of way off.
Way off. No, it's only like a year off, maybe 2. But
that's a lot back in when you're young.
Well, yeah, exactly. He is too old for her. Yeah, I remember like there was this guy in our year who was dating someone who was like 2 years younger, and he got called a pedo. Like he was.
We had a little pedo in our school too.
God, sorry. It's there's some noncery about there's some wizardry and a bit of noncery going on because why would
he is European, so for him he's probably like she's too old for him.
Yeah, so that's the thing. Why? Well, you have to consider it, right? Why would Victor Krum want to date Hermione? Because he could date anyone in his.
Oh
year.
yeah, it's very predatory.
Yeah. Why is he gone for the 14-year-old? Why?
Yeah. And I would say like also he's gone for the girl who's like not very popular. She's probably got very low self-esteem. Like this is what you do when raping's afoot.
Okay. Well, you remember when Hermione said, "Oh yeah, he just sits in my room and stares at me."
Yeah.
So,
Twilight.
Well, yeah. So again, we've established why Victor Krum would want Hermione because he's a nonce. Essentially,
yes.
That's what we've concluded. But why would Hermione be interested in him if he's just this guy that stares at her? I guess because like J.K. Rowling is delving into cliches once more. It's like she's a teenage girl who obviously Victor Krum is this famous Quidditch player, so obviously she's going to fall for him. Yeah, because even Hermione who's obviously thinks a lot of herself, she's still susceptible to those to
female genes.
Yes, well, yeah, being the teenage kind of heartthrob thing. That's how she thinks, given these kind of scenes. So yeah, it's just again, I don't find this good. These scenes, and yeah, again, there's some if you think about it for a couple of seconds, it's like maybe this isn't such a great moment. Maybe again a bit of nonsense is going on. Okay, right. Because we're on the subject, I have to ask you this question, which I have asked you in the last 3 times.
Is Hermione hot yet?
Well, yeah. So obviously it started off as a joke, and it's let's see if it's still a joke. I assume in every Harry Potter review, because obviously Emma Watson was known to us, especially as someone we're a similar age to her.
Yes.
Yeah.
How old was she in 2005? Obviously the character is 14. But, okay.
I checked before. She was born in 1990.
So she's 15.
So she's probably 15 when she's filming these scenes. So I will ask you, Michael, again. As your lawyer, I advise you to be careful here.
Yes.
Is Hermione hot yet?
She is not hot yet, but she's getting there, right?
Okay,
because it's almost legal.
You don't need to add the last bit. Strike that from the record. Strike that from the record. Yeah. Okay. We have said no. Let's revisit in 2 years' time in Order of the Phoenix. But yeah. So the first few, it was like obviously funny because obviously you're not going to say
now
yes.
It's getting serious.
But now
this really separates the men from the boys.
Literally, yes.
Or the women from the girls, if you like.
Oh well, yeah. Oh god. Emma Watson, I think, for a lot of our generation was like,
she was bang tidy.
Yeah, I don't think we said that on the playground. Maybe we did. I can't remember.
I heard the word bang tidy from this girl one time who claimed that she heard a dog say that.
What?
She claimed that she was walking down the street and she heard a dog say bang tidy, but like bang tidy. Like she said that a dog barks the words bang tidy at
Okay,
her.
so this is why we were obsessed with Emma Watson, as you know, because the kids our age were saying, you know, the girls.
Because the kids our age were saying that dogs were sexually barking sexual harassment at
Yeah,
them.
you know, oh god,
Emma Watson would never.
she would not. Well, Hermione wouldn't at least.
Yeah. Well, Hermione might, because there's a possibility a dog actually. would.
Good point.
There's a possibility that dog was Sirius Black, and
He was.
that's why he's in Azkaban.
Hermione walks past and Sirius Black as a dog says bang tidy. and then he gets sent to Azkaban. Yeah.
Anyway, so Cedric advises Harry to use the prefix bathroom, take a bath, and submerge the egg in the water to find a second clue. As another one of our underage main characters gets sexualized. Yeah, that is kind of interesting, isn't it? And also, by the way, you know the woman who plays Moaning Myrtle was like 30 in this film.
Yeah, I think I know that.
Yeah,
and
so
yeah,
that's interesting.
I wasn't thinking about that while watching the scene, but yeah, that makes it
No, yeah.
a bit worse, doesn't it? Because
Do you think that Cedric's kind of a bit of a dick? Because Harry like just straight up said it's dragons, and then Cedric's like returns the favour by being, to be fair, like not too cryptic. Like you can, I guess, kind of infer.
Yeah.
If you're having a bath, it shows that like. But either way, he's still like he doesn't have any business being cryptic at all because Harry didn't like do that for him.
Yeah, but I guess you know you can't really be cryptic about dragons. It's like you know, and at the end of the day, it was an easy suggestion. Like oh yeah, basically put the egg in your bath and it'll work.
Yeah.
I do like the friendship they got going on because it's like oh yeah, well I say I like their friendship.
I wish they were gay.
No, I don't wish that.
Okay.
But what I do wish is that we saw more of them together, more scenes of them together, because they kind of build an understanding. But it could have been better. There could have been more there. So at the end, like it's more impactful when Cedric dies.
Yes.
Yeah. And again, there's a bit there, but I wanted to see more. I like the direction they were going with this relationship. I just wanted to see a bit more. A bit more of that camaraderie of like, oh, only us two know how difficult this is. And we're helping each other still. We've got that bond. And then when of course he dies at the end, it hits you even more.
For the second task, or tasqueando segundo, as they say in Spain, the champions must rescue somebody of value to them from the Black Lake. Harry has to save Ron. Cedric has to save his girlfriend, Cho Chang Ching Chong. Victor has to rescue Hermione, and Fleur has to save her sister, Gabrielle. Gabrielle, yeah.
So yeah, I didn't know that was Cho's full name, did you?
Well, I did know that because I've read the books.
Okay, so. Fair enough. But yeah, so...
You didn't let me finish my sentence, by the way.
Oh, sorry.
There's still a final part of the paragraph.
Yeah, go on.
Neville Longbottom gives Harry gillyweed to help him breathe underwater. Cedric comes in first, and Harry's awarded second place after he saves not only Ron, but also Gabrielle. Okay, what do you have to say that's negative about this scene?
So I don't think it's as exciting as the dragon scene.
Yeah, it's boring.
Yeah, well, because you want the build up, don't you? Of like, oh, this the first task is kind of exciting, and then the second task it gets even harder, and more exciting. Obviously, like the stakes are raised. But yeah, again, like
it's really not.
Yeah, fending off a dragon, it seems harder than what they're doing here. Well, the trick is, okay, can you breathe underwater? Can you, find a spell to do that? And as long as you can,
everything else is pretty easy, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, you should be fine. Like Cedric was fine, Harry was going to be fine, Victor Crumb was fine. So yeah, it just wasn't as dramatic as the first task. So yeah, that's not as good. But I am interested. What happens if they don't rescue their loved ones?
Oh my goodness, yes. You're asking the right question, because here's the thing, right? And a spoiler alert, Luke. At some point, we are going to be expected to care that Cedric Diggory, somebody, you don't want to do spoilers, that somebody dies. And indeed, the school is going to be in a state of serious mourning about the fact that somebody has died. But and I didn't want to make this point for every single time, but when we've already seen Harry almost got just smashed with that dragon's tail. When he walked out, the first thing that happens just there was whack right into the rock, right next to where he stood. He easily could have died. But two, like you're saying, either they're going to be fine if they're not rescued, in which case there was nothing really heroic about Harry rescuing her, and if anything, he was being kind of stupid for rescuing Gabrielle as if he needed to, or they were literally going to let that little girl die, in which case you then have to ask, okay, so what business do they have giving a shit about anyone dying from that point onwards? This is the question we must ask.
Yes, okay. So is it confirmed that obviously Fleur Delacour, whatever she's called, her sister,
I'm going to ask ChatGPT,
was going to die? because I was like, surely not. Like, she doesn't have a say. She didn't enter her name into the Triwizard Cup, and it's another, it's one thing to put yourself at risk. It's just another thing to like, oh yeah, we're going to kill your friends and family, if you don't succeed in these tasks.
Dumbledore explicitly tells the champions afterwards that the hostages were never in real danger, but that was only because the judges had placed safeguards on the situation, not because the lake itself was safe. So, I don't know, I guess maybe what they're saying is someone else would have rescued her, if not Harry, so...
Yeah, okay, so yeah, she wasn't actually in danger. Okay, that's what I thought.
Okay, yeah, which is... good, but then that just means, Harry didn't know that. To be fair, like, it doesn't, like, that is not a kind of mark of confidence, really, that Harry's working assumption was, oh, they're just going to let this girl die, I better rescue her.
Yeah, again, so, because I remember watching that at the time, and I was like, again, as a kid, and I was confused, like, were they just going to let that kid die then? Like, this 12-year-old, they were going to let her drown? And apparently not, which is good.
Yes, let's move on to bigger and better things. Harry later finds the body of Barty Crouch Sr., a Ministry of Magic official, in the Forbidden Forest. In Dumbledore's office, sorry, I'm just like, I was going to get distracted and say, like, did they even explain why they're in the Forbidden Forest? But whatever. In Dumbledore's office, he enters a pensieve. He witnesses the questioning of Igor Karkaroff, current headmaster of Durmstrang, by Barty Crouch Sr. Karkaroff is asked to name those who served Voldemort. Karkaroff names Barty Crouch Jr., and Harry recognizes Crouch Jr. from his nightmare. So, yeah, a few things here. One, Barty Crouch Jr. didn't have to so immediately incriminate himself, although I guess because this is a society where they don't really have any, like, freedom and stuff like that, I suppose... Because I was going to be like, well, he could just say, like, well, how are you going to prove that? Like, he's just lying. But I guess they can just do the truth serum, whatever.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Which, by the way, in a world where they have the truth serum, though, okay, I know it's like shooting fish in a barrel to criticize J.K. Rowling's world building. And to be fair, like, I don't really, like, whatever, magic is magic, it doesn't really make any sense. But in a world where they have truth serum, why would they actually give people plea deals for providing information? Because they could just make them provide that information.
Yeah, that's a good point, but maybe you have to know what questions to ask.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. Maybe. Anyway, but yeah, it's so this flashback, we'll just call it that, because, that's what it is, even though it's from Dumbledore's perspective. It's not connected to the plot, really, in any way, because we need this mystery, like I've said throughout this review, to be more integrated into the story. We get these flashbacks, of course, and Harry's dreams, but there's so much focus on the tournament. And again, I know that the two plot lines are connected, of course, but they don't feel connected. And I think it would be a good idea, again, to make this whole thing of what's going on with, Barty Crouch Sr., Moody, how did Harry get into the Triwizard tournaments? What's the deal with, Harry's dreams regarding Voldemort? All of this kind of stuff. It'd be good if Harry and maybe Hermione, again, who does fuck all in this movie, maybe they did some investigating. Maybe there was a few scenes of them looking into some stuff, And again, the scene with Snape where he's like, "You've stolen all my shit that I use for the Polyjuice potion." That wouldn't feel so tacked on as it does if, again, Harry was investigating some stuff, and then somehow that led him to Snape's fucking room where he keeps all this stuff. Again, like, you could have done that. It's probably not in the book. Well, yeah, it's not in the book, obviously. But you could have, again, adapted it a bit more to make it a better movie, but maybe you couldn't have. But I'm just saying what would have made the movie better. I don't know if you agree with that. But
I absolutely agree. See, there's two things that annoy me. One, we mentioned Mr. Karkaroff. I want to point out, like, and again, I understand that you do not like the first two films, but you're going to have to bear with me because as someone who does like them, I'm going to be frequently using them as a positive point of comparison. When you look at the way that Snape was set up as the red herring in Philosopher's Stone, it's really well handled. Admittedly, partially only because he's the one like actively countering Quirrell, which could be quite easily mistaken for him being the one doing it, but whatever. But like then the thing with like this Karkaroff guy is all they do is sometimes something bad will happen or something suspicious, and then they'll just cut to him like looking kind of mean and sinister. But like there's no like satisfying, we thought it was Karkaroff, but then it's this actual thing. Like, whatever you're going to say, but in Philosopher's Stone, when Quirrell was like, Snape was casting a counterspell or whatever, you're like, okay, yeah. Like, there's like that satisfaction of, okay, that's explained, which just doesn't happen here. They just cut to this guy. And then, yeah, obviously, like you say, the Polyjuice potion thing's really tacked on. I like a good mystery. I think mysteries are, and I think we said before, they're just a great way of writing a story. And this shows what happens when you kind of include the mystery, but you don't do the part where you use it to actually write a story.
Yes, exactly. Well, it's like what I said at the start of the review, where it's like, it's the interesting thing about a mystery is, when it's being investigated. you can't just create a mystery and then drop it until the end. It's like, okay, this is, what actually happened. The mystery has been solved without all the stuff in between, which again makes it a good mystery. And that's what this movie kind of does. And it gives you like bits and pieces here and there, like this flashback, but again, it just doesn't feel connected at all to the story. And so, that's what makes it feel so unsatisfying, of course, the mystery, and then, of course, the conclusion, which, we are going to get to.
For the third task, the champions must navigate a maze to reach the Triwizard Cup. After saving Cedric's life, Harry and Cedric reach the cup only to discover it is a portkey that transports them to a graveyard from Harry's dream. Okay, so two things. Well, no, just one thing. I do kind of like the fact that obviously they established the way that portkeys work is you have to grab them all at the same time. That's fun. And that kind of works with the idea of them being like, okay, we'll grab the cup at the same time to show that we both won. This would have been really good if it was part of this developing relationship, rivalry, turn friends, whatever. But as you kind of already said, that's not really established, so whatever.
Yeah, again, yeah. Okay, right. It's time, I think, to talk about
the terrible plan.
Why must the Triwizard Cup be the portkey? Because it makes no sense. It's frustrating that the whole movie, or the whole, plot and premise of the movie was created without it being necessary, because of course anything can be a portkey. That's kind of been established. So Harry could have picked up anything. When Moody takes him to his office, he tells Harry to pick something up. That's a portkey.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden he's at the graveyard.
I have something relevant to say. Do you know the popular YouTuber Patrick H. Willems?
Yeah.
Yes. So basically, he made that. Have you ever seen? He made a video called "Shut Up About Plot Holes," and in the video, he talks about how it doesn't matter that this is a plot hole because obviously when you watch it, you're so excited about all of the plot happening with Harry and whatever. And it was a stupid thing, but someone made a response to him where they were like, okay, you know what? Maybe someone wouldn't be thinking about the logistics of it during the scene where all of the exciting stuff is happening, but they might think about it later when Barty Crouch explains in detail that this was the plan. Obviously, and that's kind of the thing. I said before with this magic stuff, I don't expect it to be perfect. I think it makes sense. There'll be plot holes, whatever. I say bring them on. But the thing is, there's having them, and then there's them being ridiculous, and then being central, and it just, it doesn't work because it's so convoluted and it's so illogical. Even with the time turner thing, it kind of bothered me. But with the time turner thing, you can at least say, well, at least all of the issues of the time turner is peripheral stuff. You just say, oh, well, then they can use the time turner in all these other situations. But as far as the time turner in the actual thing is concerned, okay, that's fine. In this case, even just within the specific confines of the singular purpose of the portkey for the twist in this movie, it still makes no sense. It is, such a needlessly convoluted plan, and I hate it. No,
you're right. It is needlessly convoluted. Exactly. Again, you could make it so the Triwizard Cup is made of a special, metal or whatever material, which means it can be a portkey. But again, then there's, well, why can't Moody get Harry to touch that material? It's too, again, it has to be thought out better, and J.K. Rowling clearly didn't think it out at all, and that's why it's just frustrating because that whole thing was kind of just pointless then, the whole mystery was undercut so very easily.
It would have been kind of nice if the sole reason why Harry survives his encounter with Voldemort is because of Cedric. Or Cedric being there. Because then it would be okay, Harry is rewarded for helping Cedric, basically rewarded for being a good sportsman. That works. Whereas as it is, you're kind of who cares?
Yeah, we're about to get onto that now.
Yes. Pettigrew kills Cedric. He then uses Harry's blood to resurrect Voldemort, who summons his Death Eaters before torturing Harry. Voldemort attempts to kill Harry, but the latter deflects it. The ghosts of Voldemort's previous victims, including Harry's parents, appear, distracting Voldemort, allowing Harry to use the cup to return to Hogwarts with Cedric's body. So, yeah, the thing that's kind of annoying here is that Voldemort's supposed to be this big bad guy, and he has now lost to Harry twice. I think there should have been a more satisfying explanation for, or reason why Harry is able to survive.
Yeah.
In my head, I feel maybe it could be as simple as, I don't know, Cedric just gets winged or something, somehow he's still basically alive, and then he kind of stabs Voldemort from behind and then like basically sacrifices his life to save Harry. Like that would be more impactful than him just being
Yes.
like. It's kind of awkward that it's just like kill the spare. Like he's just who gives a shit about Cedric? He's just the spare.
Yeah, well, yeah. Again, I'm fine with Voldemort saying that, but yeah, again, I do agree. It'd be nice if Cedric helped Harry defeat Voldemort. That would be good. But of course, that's not what happens. So yeah, it's of course this dramatic ending because we have Harry versus Voldemort, the first time we've seen it properly in any of these movies, which is enjoyable on some level. But again, it does kind of feel tacked on at the end because the whole Voldemort thing hasn't been really integrated into the plot. So yeah, it just felt okay. Right, we're doing this then. It's Harry versus Voldemort. All right. Didn't really prepare for this. Wasn't ready. Okay, fine. Again, it could have been done better. But yeah, let's move on to when Harry gets back.
Harry returns with Cedric's body. Harry is escorted by Moody to his office, where he learns that Moody put his name into Goblet and was guiding him to ensure the return of Voldemort. So I guess we kind of already touched on how this is a stupid twist. I did come up with a better twist, and it's basically only slightly better because I feel like it's a bit more nuanced, which would be, hear me out, I don't know, maybe this is stupid. You can make fun of me if you think it's really stupid. But I was thinking, maybe it would be more interesting if like Mad-Eye Moody was actually like himself and he was an aura, and like he did it. He still did like the whole Portkey thing, but because he's crazy and he was like, oh, I wanted to kill Voldemort, so I sent you, Harry, to kill Voldemort. And that way, because then it's like he's crazy, which makes it but really, it's probably a shit idea actually, because essentially what that is me saying, I came up with a solution for the plot hole, which is what if the guy who did it was basically a crazy moron? So maybe that's stupid and you can make fun of me.
No, I don't think it's stupid. I mean, look, I like how you're thinking outside the box, because
that means a lot.
Essentially the mystery, is... I didn't even know like it was conceivable. I remember watching this in the movie theater again when I was a kid, and I was like, "Oh, that's fucking David Tennant." I was like, I don't know who this guy is because he's been in like 2 previous scenes. He's not been in any of the previous movies.
I kind of remember that too, like being a bit confused.
Yeah, because he's not been in any of the previous movies either. So okay, right. So I don't care. I just don't care. He's not a big character. It's not really satisfying.
Actually, I did have one other thing to say, and this is actually a positive, and it's also a positive that was pointed out by this guy who I was just speaking about, who like pointed out the issue with the plot hole. But he did say there's one interesting thing about this, and I do think it's really cool. Barty Crouch obviously tortured Neville Longbottom's parents, and then he impersonates Mad-Eye Moody and literally like makes Neville Longbottom watch him do the same curse. And like someone's saying like that's like an example of how to do a good twist, in that it's an example of where knowing that information makes what's happening have another layer to it because of the twist. And basically like if the entire movie was like that, it would be a good movie, because it's like, oh my god, yeah, I didn't really think about that. This is literally a guy who tortured a kid's parents to the point of insanity, now relishing in forcing that kid to watch like that's really dark. But obviously
it's good, but yeah, it's one of those moments where you think afterwards, but not actually during it. Yeah.
Just as Moody is about to kill Harry, Dumbledore, Snappy, and McGonagall subdue Moody using Veritasium, the science YouTuber. They learn that they have caught Barty Crouch Jr., who was impersonating Moody using Polyjuice Potion. The real Moody is imprisoned in a trunk. Cool, yes. I will say I think it's probably dumb that you can get into Hogwarts using Polyjuice Potion. It's another kind of world-breaking thing. It's kind of like, all right, well, why doesn't like literally any Death Eater at any time go into Hogwarts disguised as basically any teacher who they can abduct like while they're not in Hogwarts, and then just walk in.
Also, everything feels wrapped up in a neat little package. A bit too much.
Yes.
Yeah, a bit too much. Again, like we said before, Doctor Who, David Tennant, was not established in 2 previous scenes, and it's like, he used the Polyjuice Potion, which of course Snape referenced very candidly like 2 scenes previously. Again, I had no idea that it was conceivable that Moody was not who he said he was. Again, like there's no clues there really at all until you've watched it again, because I know he does that little thing with his mouth when he talks to his dad, Barty Crouch Senior, and it's like, that's so, but again, you don't know that David Tennant does that, or the character, Barty Crouch Jr. does that little thing with his mouth. You don't know that until obviously you've seen the movie. Yes. So again, because he's not a main character. So just not a great ending really. Yeah.
I mean, and this is the big thing, right? The fact there is no investigation. That's the main thing that hangs over this movie as an incredible point of frustration. That they weren't like, all right, let's actually look into who might be stealing this polyjuice potion and maybe give a shit about who,
But then the movie would be 2 hours 40 minutes, and that would be too long. And again, then J.K. Rowling would not be happy with them changing the novel so much.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, so Dumbledore announces Voldemort murdered Cedric, although the Ministry denies this. Harry informs Dumbledore of his encounter with Voldemort, which he describes as priori incantatem. The three schools bid farewell, with Harry, Ron, and Hermione agreeing that everything will change. Yes. What the fuck does priori incantatem mean? Did they use that word in the movie?
Well, you're so fucking... Dumbledore literally says to Harry, priori incantatem, right at the end.
Cool. What does that mean?
Yeah, well, I don't know what it means, but basically Harry's saying, our wand's connected, so it's some bullshit thing that J.K. Rowling made up.
It's some nonsense. Yeah, I think I was, I think I might have checked out right at the end of the movie. Right, I'm talking I was like, because basically, as you said, everything's wrapped up in a neat little package.
Yeah, I do like how Hermione says at the end, everything's going to change, because I do like that, because obviously this is halfway through, exactly, in terms of, the movies. This is movie 4 out of, 8 movies, so we're past the point of halfway after this, and everything has changed because Voldemort's back, but also, crucially, they are now older, they're becoming, like, adults, instead of,
blossoming.
Kids. Yeah, they are blossoming, as you said, so yeah, I think it's it's a natural turning point, in the series, going from the Goblet of Fire, because that's the thing. The first 4 movies, the reason why I like them, because there's not really a focus on Voldemort. There's like an individual thing happening in each single movie, compared to after that, which is it's all about Voldemort really in the next 4 movies. So that's why I do kind of like these first 4 movies a bit, because it's like more a day in the life in Hogwarts compared to the rest of the movies. So yeah, when Hermione says that everything has changed, I do like that, because it's like the movies are going to get different and maybe a bit worse as well. Yes. But yeah, so let's conclude, Michael. You go first.
Yes, low 4. No. So basically, to me, I think there's like just too much is not right. Essentially, with this movie, the mystery aspect does not work because they don't actually bother investigating at all. The twist plot MacGuffin situation, we've already like completely roasted that, and we were right to. And of course, like the central driving thing with the plot. Yeah, sure, it's kind of like an easy way to be like, we'll just have like these action scenes and that'll be entertaining. But obviously what's missing there is the creative effort of like having the plot feel motivated. And I mean, that's the other issue, of course, which is Harry doesn't really have a motivation for this film. The thing that he, in some senses, you would think is supposed to be doing is winning the tournament, but he doesn't give a shit about that. Whatever. Like, there's so many issues. In fact, you know what? No, high 3. I genuinely feel like there's like so many issues with this film. Okay. And yeah, there's the base level entertainment value, but whatever. Phantom Menace has base level entertainment value of like the Jewel of Fate. It is worse. I'm just saying, like, lots of movies do have base entertainment value. But this movie just has so many things that like annoying. So I'm like, why would you put like a little bit more effort into like crafting a slightly better story?
That's the thing, because it's frustrating, because I think I did sum it up well, not to gloat.
Wow,
but I said it is style over substance, because the substance is not there, but the style is there. It really is there, and that's what's frustrating about it. Because they could have done something good, but there's just so many flaws in this movie. So I gave Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone a 6. I gave Chamber of Secrets a 6.5. I gave Azkaban a 7.5. I'm kind of using that. And
so you're going to give this one an 8.
I think
you don't want to break your trend.
I have to give it a 5 out of 10, I think. Because I'm like, it's not that much worse than the others, to give it like a 4 or, even a high 3 as you gave it. So yeah, 5 out of 10 for me. What are we doing next time?
Oh, next week we're doing it's kind of exciting in a way, because it's a derby. We're looking at Twilight. I don't know which one, but it's the next one from what we're doing. Is it Eclipse? Eclipse, okay, yeah.
Yeah, another dose of Robert Pattinson coming up. So yeah, join us for that next time. Have you been Michael?
I've been Michael.
I've been Luke. Thanks for listening, and Expelliarmus. No, goodbye.
Goodbye.